I am, and Senator Manchin is still at the negotiating table, talking to us every day, talking to us about voting rights, getting that bill done, restoring the Senate. He is talking to us about this bill. When I look at this drama in the next month, I break it down into a mini-series. And the first part is the defense bill and a bridge to the budget. Vast majority of senators support that. We'll get that done. Second thing, the debt ceiling. You know, if the Republicans want to scrooge out on us and increase people's interest rates and make it hard to make car payments, go ahead, make that case. We're going to stop them from doing that. The third, as I mentioned, voting rights, fundamental to our country. You see partisan gerrymandering going on, and what we're talking about here is restoring the rules of the Senate so we can pass a bill that Senator Manchin has signed his name on, to the bill I lead, the bill Senator Schumer has been bringing every people together on, and that is a Freedom to Vote Act. And finally, what we just talked about, the Build Back Better bill. We can get this done. It's that, to me, it's that old song. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear the song now.
The song is a little less talk and a lot more action.
Well, there does seem to be
next month.
I'm going to put up this report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers, and it gives grades for both of your states. Michigan gets a D+, California gets a C-. Congresswoman Dingell, how will the bipartisan infrastructure bill help Michigan improve that grade?
Well, there's so many different ways that it's going to happen. First of all, our governor won by campaigning on a motto of fix the damn roads. Sorry to use that word on a Sunday morning, but that's how people feel. But in addition to that, we have a significant amount of money that's going to remove lead from pipes. Michigan, again, taught the country about what happens when you have a community like Flint that has lead in the water. 50% of the children in this country whose blood have been tested have lead in their blood. Now we've got Benton Harbor and several other cities that have lead in their blood. And the pandemic has taught us the disparities of high-speed internet and those that have it and those that don't. And that's going to address this problem just for beginners. There's a lot of other critical things, but this bill is going to make such a difference in a state like Michigan with bridges that are crumbling. Our logistics are being impacted because they're so bad. I'll tell you a story. I got home after we voted that Saturday on the infrastructure bill, got out of the car, was meeting some people. I stepped in a pothole and went flailing everywhere and said, this is what the infrastructure bill is going to fix.
And to your point about, and I'm glad to see that you're okay having fallen as a result of stepping in a pothole. But make that clear at first. But as you mentioned before, you mentioned Benton Harbor, Michigan, and we put up a headline of an opinion piece in the Washington Post about another water crisis looms in Michigan. Is Benton Harbor the next Flint? Do you see it there? Congressman Gomez, as the report card showed a moment ago, California gets a C-. How is the bipartisan infrastructure law going to, going to help the Golden State?
Yeah, before I was in Congress, I was a state legislator, state assemblyman, and I was the co-chair of the Conference Committee on Infrastructure. So California did take steps to start investing billions of dollars in our roads, bridges, waterways, and we started that a few years ago, but we couldn't do it alone. So we've been waiting, and California's been waiting for the federal government to step in, and this is where they're stepping in. And it's going to help deliver even more improvements on our bridges and our roads, and you're going to see a profound impact. One project in my district right now that's partly federally funded is the 6th Street Viaduct. There's hundreds of people that are put to work, mostly people of color, and a lot of women and people who live in the area. So the bipartisan infrastructure bill is going to have opportunities to have targeted local hire so people can get back to work, but also in good union paying jobs. So it's going to be a profound impact. And at the same time, this is just to make us more competitive in the future. And as Secretary Buttigieg said, this is going to have a profound impact on how people commute, how people get from their home to their job and back. And if people can save, 30 minutes, 20 minutes of commute time to be with their families, all of us are going to be better off.
Moms and dads are worried, asking, will there be enough food we can afford to buy for the holidays? Will we be able to get Christmas presents to the kids on time? And if so, will they cost me an arm and a leg? I told you before that we're going to take action on these problems. That's exactly what we're doing.
That's President Biden earlier this week talking up new action to stop inflation as the busy holiday shopping season begins. But polls show Americans are feeling the pain and putting the blame on the president. A new NPR Marist poll finds the president's approval rating at just 42%. With less than half of independents and just 3% of Republicans approving of his job performance. Joining us now, Missouri Republican Congressman Jason Smith. He is the ranking member of the House Budget Committee and a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, how would you grade the job that the president is doing in responding to inflation?
If you could get a grade worse than an F, that is what I would give Joe Biden. He clearly does the opposite of what is necessary. The answer to addressing inflation was trying to pass another $5 trillion spending package. That was the last thing that was done last week in Congress. Right now, Americans are experiencing the highest prices. They just experienced the highest Thanksgiving that they've ever experienced in history. They're going into Christmas right now with the supply chain crisis, the inflation crisis, the energy crisis, all at the hands of Joe Biden. So I would definitely give him a below an F.
The president says that there are elements in the Build Back Better bill that is proposed that he says are going to solve inflation for many Americans, things like universal pre-K, et cetera. How do you respond to that?
It's a joke. This bill does three things. It bankrupts the economy. It spends $5 trillion right now. It will fuel fire to inflation. The last thing that you need to do is to pour more government spending on the inflation fire. It benefits the wealthy. Guess what? If you're a family who makes $45,000 a year in Farmington, Missouri, you'll get a tax break of $20 under the SALT deduction. But if you make $4 million in New York City, you'll get a tax break of $25,900 under his plan. And guess what? It builds the Washington machine. It adds more than 150 different new federal programs just to have more command and control over the lives of all working class Americans. That's the wrong plan for America.
I want to put up on the screen the NPR Marist poll of the top economic concerns that voters have out there right now. Inflation is up there on top at 39%, wages at 17%, labor shortages 11%, unemployment at 10%, then housing costs and gas prices really could be related to inflation. You know, I'm old enough to remember when a president by the name of Richard Nixon tried to stop inflation by instituting a wage and price freeze. That didn't work. You don't think that the president's proposals this time around are going to work either?
John, since Joe Biden has become president on January 20th, inflation has gone up more than 7.4%. That's the highest in 4 decades. The highest in 4 decades. That means Americans are paying more for prices at the supermarket. And when I talk to people traveling across Missouri, they care about the prices at the supermarket, not the prices at the stock market. I hope President Biden will understand the effects that this inflation is having on real Americans. Their wages are being decreased. According to the Congressional Budget Office, their wages are being decreased because of skyrocketing inflation. Their wage increase does not even keep up with this horrible inflation that they're experiencing.